All right. So today we're going to start systems, okay? The first part of solving systems is going to be by graphing. So what is a system? First of all, it's going to be two or more linear equations that use the same variables. We will focus on two, right, for our problems. Now, the solution of the system is any ordered pair that makes all of the equations in the system true. So for us today with graphing, we're going to graph them and we're going to find where the two lines cross, okay? And that's going to be our solution to the system. All right, so usually when they list a system, they list it like this. A lot of times I don't want you to get confused here. They will put like a bracket around it like this. So they'll put like this around it. It's just saying that this is a system. That doesn't mean you have to do anything different with it. Okay. All right, so the way we do this, it says, what is the solution of the system? Use the graph. And we have y equals x plus 2, and we have y equals 3x minus 2. So you've got two equations that you're looking at. The idea is to figure out what x value and what y value will make both of them true. And when we're going to do that by graphing, this is what we do. Okay, so I'm going to zoom that in. So to do this first one, we're going to start, you want to start by making sure they're both in y equals, which they are, okay? And so then if they're both in y equals, you want to identify the slope and the y-intercept of one at a time. All right, so starting with the first equation, right? And I'm going to do the work over here. I'm going to do the first equation right here. Let's see. I'll do it down here. So here's my first equation. So I'm going to use m for slope and b for y-intercept. Who can tell me the slope of the first equation? What is it on? It's 1. There's a hiding 1 by this x, right? And remember, the slope is the letter next to the number next to x. So if you are graphing them by hand, and which we are today, then you want to make the slope a fraction, okay? So in this case, instead of it just being 1, we're going to put it over 1. 1 over 1. Because 1 is the same as 1 over 1, right? What is the y-intercept have to be then? Go, Joelle. And that one's not a fraction, okay? So the only one we need to be a fraction when we are graphing by hand is the m. And then the b is our y-intercept. That's where we're going to start our graph. So the little rhyme that I tell Math 8 kids is b is free. It's a free dot, okay? So we start with this one. And remember, this is the y-intercept. So we're going to use the y line, and we're going to find where positive 2 is. So go up 1, 2, and you put a dot there. B is free. Then you use the slope, the rise and the run, to find a second dot. You really only need 2 dots to graph a line. So remember that the top number is a rise and the bottom number is a run. Okay? So and you don't start back at 0. That's the catch. From our first dot, we're going to rise 1 and run 1. So that means we're going to go up 1 and right 1 and put a second dot. Okay? And then we're going to use our ruler and we are going to draw a line. Now, some of you have no idea how to do a ruler the correct way and get a good graph. This is what you should be doing. You should be taking your pen or pencil. You start it on one of the dots. You put your pencil down or your pen. Then you line up your ruler. And it's hard for me because I'm right-handed to show you. But if I put my pencil down, then I line my ruler up where it hits my pencil to the next dot like this. And then it will make a perfect graph. Now I'm right-handed, so I'm going to do it this way, but okay. Then it will go through and be perfect, and you don't have to worry about, oh, it's hitting only not the lines I want it to hit. There's your first part of the system. Now you want to do the second part. Okay, so the second graph is also in, or equation is also in y equals. So let's do the second part. So the second one I'm going to do here. Who can tell me the slope and the y-intercept for the second equation? Carla, go ahead. Good. I love that you made that a fraction right away. What's the y-intercept? -2. Awesome. So notice that it's -2, which when we're pulling this apart makes that a negative. So we're going to start, B is free. Start at -2 and put a dot there. So we're going to go down 1, 2 and put a dot. 3 over 1, positive 3 over 1 means I go what directions from there? Matt, where do I go? Up 3 and right 1. That's right. Okay, so I'm going to go up from the purple dot, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go right 1, and I'm going to make a second dot. And then this is why using a straight edge is super important, because if you're off, you're not going to get the right answer in the end. So again, put your pencil down in the center of the dot, line your ruler up to the center of the next dot, and then make your line. Now, the solution of the system is where they cross, okay? And so it's very clear that this is the spot they cross, right? So the solution is the ordered pair. So you got to go back to ordered pair now. Remember, this is your x-axis, this is your y. So we're going to do x comma y now. What is that dot? What is the coordinate for that dot? David, go ahead. 2, 4 is the coordinate. Good job. He got that by if you were to do this, right? This and this are our spots, right? So that's right 2 and up 4 would be the coordinate. If you use like the battleship method, I call it, where you like remember in Battleship, you know how they do I-9 and you got to like find the ship like that. This would be 2, 4 and you would find the ship, the intersection. That's how you get it. Okay, is there questions? All right, let's do it again. So the other part of this is I want to do, so because of the video, I'm going to skip this one for right now, okay? And we're going to go to the next, to this side. I apologize for the copy here, right? It's really hard to kind of see the graph, but we're going to do our best. So what we want to do probably is take your pencil at least, and you can kind of see where the lines are for each one. That one wasn't very good. And at least put your little tick marks in there. Because it does make a difference, right? We're trying to be as accurate as possible. Okay. Okay, so there's those. The harder ones are down here, so you're going to have to kind of estimate where those are. All right. Okay, so here's the next one. If you look at this system, what is the slope of the first equation? Can't tell, can you? All right. So, and some of you were busy writing, so maybe you didn't catch this. But in the beginning, I said you have to make sure they're in y equals before you start. All right. And this is going to be important for using our calculator when I teach you that. They got to be in y equals. All right. So this is not in y equals. I'm going to do the work over to the side here. And then I'll use the space underneath if I need to. So if I do the workout, minus 1x, and put a 1 in front there, equal to. How do I get that into y equals? What do I need to cancel first? Speciosa, go ahead. The minus 1x. Yeah, I need to cancel that out. So what do I do instead of minus? What do I do to cancel it? Plus. I'm going to add 1x. Good. And then I have to add it to the other side. All right, y is still not completely alone, is it? There's still a 2 right next to it. How do I cancel the 2? Jaden, go ahead. That's right. I'm going to divide by 2. And then you have to divide everything over here by 2. Okay? Now, that looks like a mess. So you do not want to leave it. You want to rewrite it. Okay? So this one's really y equals, what's 2 divided by 2? 1. And 1 divided by 2 gives you a decimal. You don't want a decimal if you can help it. So we're going to leave it the fraction. Okay. I know I'm leaking into the space here because I write kind of big for the video. But now let's find m and b for our rewritten equation. What's our slope? What's our y-intercept? Cameron, go ahead.
Slope is 1 over 2, and y-intercept is 1.
Perfect. So sometimes the slope is already a fraction, which when we're graphing it is actually good. All right, where do I start this graph now? Where's my first one go? Go ahead. The y-intercept. We're going to start with the 1. So up 1 gets a dot. Where do I go from that spot? Now, the next location I got to do what? Specials go. And right 2, yes, okay. So I'm going to go up 1 and right 1, 2, and I'm going to make my second dot. And then I'm going to correctly use my ruler here, and I'm going to draw the line through the 2 dots as accurately as I can. And unfortunately, this is a bad copy, but normally you wouldn't get that, especially not on a big test, right? So there's one line. The second line is y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Do you have to change that equation around? No, that one's already good, right? So let's find m and b from that second line. What is m and what is b in the second line? Someone who hasn't answered yet, you got to do this. Let's go. Who's got it? Someone can do it. Angel, go. Yep. 1 is b. Where do I start the graph? 1. I'm going to start it at 1. Okay, there's already a dot there. And then where do I go? Up 1 and right 2. There's already a dot there too. All right, that's fine. Let's put another line on it. Mine's going to look a little different because I'm using a different color. Where do those cross? Everywhere. They cross at every single dot, don't they? There's a name for everywhere. What's the solution? Infinite solutions. Now, if you were paying attention and reading the bottom of this, it kind of gives that away. So I'm going to slide the notes up, all right? And I just copied this for you. There's one solution if it crosses, right? And it'll be an ordered pair like I showed you. If there's 2 lines that land exactly on top of one another, like what we just did, there's infinitely many solutions, okay? Sometimes, though, you'll graph your 2 lines and they'll end up parallel and they will never cross, right? So in that case, the solution is no solution, right? They never cross. Okay, that is the intro. That's the lesson for today. We are going to work on the intro to systems worksheet today.